Hello, everyone, and welcome again to the Bring It Out podcast by Mr. JG1. Today's episode on the podcast will be discussing about social control. So you guys tune in. Alright then, how's everybody doing this morning? I shall say this evening. Depending on where you're waking up at, right? Yeah. So we're going to go into this. And again, this is about social control. And I'm going to read this article from Truth Movement. And we're going to start off with a overall view of what social control is. So it says, social control. What is social control? Our society is influenced and held together by a variety of forces. Uninitiated may be skeptical of the idea that certain forces, classes, organizations, interests consciously seek to control society by controlling its citizens. Control can be simple, built in an institutional to a given system, as well as a stiff, conspirational, and conscious. There's a dangerous tendency in the U.S. society that characterizes the suspicion or study of controlling forces as paranoid and delusional. Instead, we are encouraged to simply have faith and not wonder about what or who is influencing our lives. Whoa. The often repeated attitude that things are just crazy, or nobody controls things, or the world is just chaotic is a particularly anti-intellectual, anti-questioning, and anti-democratic perspective. This attitude seeks to unburden itself of responsibility for understanding its own world and doing anything to make it better. Social control can range from covert policies of influence or manipulation to overt use of force, policing, incarceration, etc. So what you guys think about this so far? About this article and social control? Let's continue on. Agencies of the government, politicians, think tanks, lobbyists, corporations, individuals, etc. Nearly everyone seeks to control their world to a certain degree, but some are more systematic, sophisticated, and influential in their efforts. Intelligence agencies such as the NSA and CIA have a mandate to exert influence in order to protect national security. Sometimes we must remind ourselves that there are forces who plan and plot to control society in a very sophisticated ways. Things do not just happen by chaos. Much of our world is shaped and influenced in a very calculated way. The essence of social control can be traced to influences over what people care about, what their values are, and what's important to them. In the U.S., the message of what to care about are very clear from birth. Yourself, your status, your beauty, your wealth, your people, your country. While the focus is the individual, the values are all dictated from outside. Whoa, what you guys think on that? Makes sense, right? We call this phenomenon depersonalized narcissism. The individual thinks and cares almost exclusively about him or herself, but only in external, socially prescribed ways. In reality, the supposed self-interest that motivates the individuals in society is nothing of the sort. Instead, it is the programmed interest of those who have the power to impose their will upon the masses. This is true to the extent that millions of people continue to participate in an essential suicidal system which is destroying our home planet and the ecosystem which could sustain our species as well as all others. Right? That's true. Through television, advertising, and the world around us, we are told what beautiful is, right? And it do tell us this, right? What success means, what is stylish, and what's normal. By what we do and do not see on television or in other media, we are taught what is important and what to think about. We have in-depth coverage of sports and celebrity gossip, while environmental news is barely even mentioned. Justifying our capitalist system is a strange economic concept that all individuals acting out of their selfishness will result into the greatest of good for the society as a whole. Think about that for a second. Really think about that. Does it make sense in theory or practice? Is it in line with the values of any sort of religion? Why would selfishness be a good thing to base a society on? That is true. Wow. What you guys think? How you feel about that? Y'all like and comment on that right there. That's real talk. Now, U.S. social control is much more sophisticated than outright authoritarianism. In fact, social control is so effective in the U.S. mostly because people are taught not to be on the lookout for it. The forces of control have essentially kept us in a childlike mental state, helpless and dependent upon their authority. Systems of social control have developed as a combination of evolutionary human traits, institutional structures, and outright conspiratorial machination. Truth moves are dedicated to deconstructing social control, striving for true personal freedom, and encouraging others to do the same. For example, spectacular deconcentration, a policy or theory explored after the urban riots of the 60s in order to control poor and minority uprising. 2. Incarceration is one of the most blatant tools of social control. The United States has the highest rate of incarceration of any country in the world. The justice system disproportionately affects poor and minority citizens. If we understand the mechanism and motives of the group mind, is it not possible to controlling a regiment, the masses according to our will, without their knowing about it? Wow, what you guys think about that? And I'm gonna stop right there because that said a lot. It said a lot. So social control, are we being controlled or not? You guys let me know in the comments. Like, share, comment, download. All right. Thanks again for joining the Bring It Out podcast. Y'all have a great night. God bless.